through your role, is resilience an easy thing to teach or coach in the workplace or not?
It's not. It's hard work for people because it's all about you. So in resilience training, what we're saying is, you know, to some degree, things are going to happen. So these challenges are going to happen. You are, you know, if you have made a mistake or you've not delivered the level of service for a customer, that customer is going to be angry, and they've got their own stress response going in, and they're not going to think rationally and logically, and they'll probably know at some level it's not actually your fault, but they're going to go for it, and they're going to complain to you. And therefore, you know, resilience is about reappraising that situation. It's not, you know, our immediate natural response is to see that as a threat, and of course then what we do is we put our hackles up and we go into that fight or flight mode, which isn't always very helpful for the customer at that particular point. So if I'm training you in resilience, what I'm training you to do is understand what that stress response is and how it fires up and where those emotions come from, that frustration, that anger, etc., and getting you aware that actually you might not be able to change the situation, but the one thing you can change is how you respond to it.
Sure. Yeah.
Now that's difficult because it's like, oh, so it's not that, it's me. And the person that can actually make, you know, actually control the emotion is me, and make me feel better is me. And some people find that a little bit difficult. But once people get that, actually it's relatively easy, because what you're doing is making people aware of why that lack of resilience, that emotional response might not be healthy or helpful. And secondly, what they can do, what strategies, what techniques can they use to overcome these setbacks and challenges, so they don't get into that fight or flight response, that stress response, that frustrated or angry. And a really good example of one of those techniques is, so somebody who is, I don't know, faced with a customer that's less than pleased with the service that they've got, might go into a little bit of self-talk around, oh gosh, what if this ends up in a real bad complaint? What if my boss gets involved? What if then I get hauled in the office? So there's a lot of what ifs. Now, of course, that creates a picture in your mind. And as you create that picture in the mind, it's like a movie. And I don't know if you've ever watched a movie and had an emotional reaction to it, you know, I don't know, a fright, or felt a little bit teary at a sad part of the movie, but that's exactly what happens in our head. So we create this movie of what if, we've got all these pictures going on, and of course it's those pictures and over predicting what might happen in this scenario that's creating the anxiousness or the worry or the upset or the frustration, not actually what's happening. So one of the strategies is get rid of the question what if out of your vocabulary and turn it into how do I. Because actually, how do I turns your brain focused into a very different picture. Okay, how do I keep this customer calm? How do I best put a solution in front of the customer right now? How do I get the customer to come with me and sit in the office and calm down? You know, how do I approach this in a different way that means that the customer's not going to, you know, get triggered off again in terms of what I say to them? So that's like a really simple technique, and the people that we've worked with on that technique, it can actually be quite, not just kind of, doesn't just change the way that they work, actually it can change a lot in their personal life as well. So that's an example of a technique we would get people to learn and then apply to their situation, so that when that situation arises again, okay, I can't do anything about the situation, but I can choose how I respond to that situation. And there's a brilliant quote, actually, Viktor Frankl, one of the Holocaust survivors, a very famous psychiatrist, he said, you know, when you can no longer change the situation, you're forced to change yourself. Very good. I kind of like that. It kind of sums resilience up in half.